So we've actually gotten to the point in the project of the Rosebud Trellis towels to finally start weaving. And so I've got, I believe I put on 5 towels on the warp. From the last video that I did with the Rosebud Trellis towels, I was warping the sectional. Since then I've done the threading, and I've done the slaying of the reed, tying onto the apron. I've got videos showing how to do that with other projects. I didn't see the need to do it again for this particular project. When I did slay the reed, basically we're using 8/2 cotton. It was 2 threads per dent. Okay, and of course we had also the floating salvages that I had to add in, obviously, as well. Okay. So the first towel, basically, I decided to use plum. Okay, from Maurice Broussard. It's kind of a mauve type purple, and I'm going to reposition the camera so you can take a look at what the pattern looks like. I just started it a little bit. The pattern is fairly simple to start remembering. It's not super complicated. Once you get to that middle section, when you get past the hem and the border, I've done the middle section 17 times basically to get the length that I wanted out of it. At least I'm hoping it'll give me the length that I want out of it. I do like longer dish towels. I'm going to do a bunch with different colors, and we'll see what they all look like in the end. Okay? Give me a second and I'll reposition the camera to show you this one. So that's the beginning part, basically. I'm really liking actually what it looks like there, and I'm going to try also at one point one of the colors that I have that my mom wanted me to do was the Sapin by Maurice Broussard. It's kind of it's like a kind of dusty green, I guess you could say. Not quite an olive green. It would match nicely with her bathroom there, but it's an 8/4 cotton that I have. So one of the towels, I think I'll start trying with it to see. The only concern that I have is that having an 8/2 warp and then an 8/4 cotton for the weft, will it make it a little bit stiffer as a towel? Because with the 8/2 weft and 8/2 cotton makes it very nice and soft as a towel. She loves the absorbency of the towels that I make for her, and wanted to have some more. So that's why I started to do this particular warp here. So once I finish this one, I will put on a few other colors, show you what those look like, and so you can have an idea as to what you'd like. Obviously the background is coming through a little bit, and I put white just to start, but you could do black or any other color that would match nicely with it, just to give variety as well. Okay, so I thought I'd show you basically so far I've done with the towel, I've done the hem section, another hem section, a border section, okay, and that with using 8/2 cotton took approximately 2 inches, okay. Now I made a boo-boo because, of course, in my own pattern I had said that I wanted to use 8/2 for the warp, but the weft was going to be 16/2, and for whatever reason I picked a cone of 8/2, and so I am liking the pattern very much, I have to say. The next towel will probably be with 16/2 just to see how it alters the pattern with a thinner thread. Now at this point here, I've done, and I as you guys know from previous videos, I use IKEA tape whenever I go for furniture shopping. I'll keep the tape to repurpose it, and basically I'll just measure along. Right now I'm looking at approximately 25.5 inches that I've done so far for this particular towel. Now the next section of the actual pattern requires me to repeat 17 times, and so to keep track of the whole pattern section, basically I just put like a check mark and dot for each row that I've got. So at this point I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 of them, so I've got 2 left to do in this particular section. Okay, so the pattern actually is relatively simple, which is really nice. We're looking at a section of 2 that you're repeating twice, okay, and then basically a section of 6, basically, okay, and that all together will make an entire square. Okay, so let's start off and see where we go from here. Now keep in mind you are using floating salvages, so that whenever you lift, obviously you're going to have that halfway through. Remember the pill bottles that I've got are hanging off the back beam there to make that that one thread float. It does not go through a heddle, it just goes through the last dent on either side. Okay, all right, so the first set of treadling that I need to do is 4, 3, 2, 1. So we've got, let me just check to make sure there. We got 4, 3, 2, 2, and 1. The second line is 4, 1, 2, 3. So 4, 1, 2, and 3. Now keep in mind also when you're putting your thread across, you try to make kind of like a diagonal. Tom Nisley sometimes will do kind of like a peak. He'll push the thread so that it's not pulling in too much. Also keep in mind on the sides there that you don't have any kind of loops because you didn't pull it in tight enough. Not overly tight to draw it in, but enough that you're not having little loops on the side as well. Okay? So I've done those first 8 treadles, I guess you could say. I put them in 2 lines. I'm going to repeat both of those again, okay? So basically you've noticed that it's made my first set of diamonds, okay? But we want to have 2 sets of diamonds. So we're going to repeat those 2 sets of treadles again. So we've got 4. Okay? Now now that I've done the 2 sets of diamonds here, I want to do the actual square part. So that basically I'm going to repeat 6 times is 4, 3, 2, 3. And it will allow me to do all the lines that are in between here. Okay? Four, 3, 2, 3. And 3. So I should have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, hold on. 6. Okay. Actually, I think I did an extra. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I think I did an extra. So hold on. Let's go backwards. Okay. So 4, 3, 2, 3. So it would be 3 that I need to do. Oh, no, I did the extra 4. That's why. Okay. So going under and then over, which is the backwards floating selvage. Okay, there we go. There we go. There's my pattern there. Okay, the 4 would have done the next line there. So again, relatively easy pattern to follow and very enjoyable, I have to say, to do because I can listen to music in the background. I don't have to be super focused, checking off each line to make sure that I don't make any mistakes. And I don't usually say the treadles out loud. I usually have them in my head as I'm doing them, obviously. So on my second towel here, basically, I wanted you to just notice on the hem the hem section right here, the hem and border. Do you notice basically you've got 2 lines here, right here, and right here that are a little bit thicker. And when you're actually doing the different treadles, basically these 2 are the same one going back and forth. So I believe it is a 4 going this way and then a 4 going back this way. The reason it doesn't undo itself is because you're using floating selvages and the thread is going around the floating selvage. So it just makes a thicker line. The benefit of that line basically is that I'm able to use that when I want to actually do my hem. So what I would do obviously is that this black thread here is the contrast thread. So I would cut, my towel here. I would do my little zigzag stitch, along so it would not unravel. Then I would basically fold the towel so that it's creased here, iron it, okay? Do my first my first seam basically, and then fold it again, iron it, and fold it again on the second one right here. So that gives me nice clean edges, and it makes it very easy for me when I'm actually trying to iron that I can actually see where I need to go because it's a little bit of a thicker thread. So that was actually made into the pattern, which I thought was pretty cool and saves me a lot of trouble because sometimes in my hems I will actually put in a very slippery thread across the section that I want to fold, and then I pull it out after the fact once I've done my ironing, and this saves me the trouble of having to do that. Okay, so I basically finished my first towel. I started my second towel. The one below here, as you can see, is the one with the plum. It is with A2 cotton for the weft and the warp. The top one basically is the one based on the pattern I actually tried to do, which was using the colored jeans from Maurice Broussard. The warp is 8-2, but the weft is 16-2. I want you to also notice basically that you see how the squares for the first towel with the A2 look like an actual square. The beading is the same for the towel above, but you'll notice the square is more rectangular than it is square. I assumed using the 16-2 that the square would be half the size, not necessarily more rectangular than square. So I knew as soon as that happened that it was going to alter the measurements that I actually had. So if we take a look here for the when I did the actual first towel here, this section here, which basically was your hem and your border, took approximately 2 inches for me on this particular towel. All right. On the towel above, this section is slightly smaller. It's 1.75 inches. Okay. Each of the squares on the one below here, okay, for the plum, basically is 1.6 inches for the square when you do the entire repeat section. Okay, remember we were going to repeat 17 times. For the 16-2 above, obviously it's a little bit less. It's 1.25 inches. So obviously in the grand scheme of things, it's going to be problematic because when I finished this towel doing the borders at the beginning and the end, the 17 repeats in the middle, basically the final towel ended up being 31.5 inches. When I wanted to do the same, I did this part here. I did the 17 repeats above here. I only had 21.25 inches as opposed to the 29.5 inches that I would have had after the 17 repeats that I did below here. This caused an issue, obviously, because the blue towel would be substantially shorter than the purple towel. So I ended up actually doing an extra 5 repeats of this middle section here. And so instead of doing 17, I did 22. And that basically brought me to plus doing the little section to finish off that last square basically brought me to 30.1 inches. So by doing the last hem at the end, I ended up having 31.6 inches. Okay. So again, if you're using the 16-2, the 17 repeats was not enough for me. It would obviously make a shorter towel in my case. So again, keep that in mind when what you would want to do when you're doing your own towel is measure your section, whatever weft you're using, measure the section for the border and hem, measure each square that for one square. That way it allows you to figure out how many squares you actually need. And at the end how much the final hem will be, that section, so that you can get approximately the amount that you need. And again, make sure that you're accounting obviously for shrinkage as well, right? So if I've got 31.5 as a final total, again, we're looking at 10 to 15% shrinkage. I'm hoping for 28 inches approximately at the end. But again, I'll see once I take these off the loom and I've washed it to see how close to the mark I ended up getting. Okay, so I hope that helps, and have yourself a great day.